Welcome to Owning Life, a podcast about embracing the beginning, the end, and the messy middle of our time on Earth. My name is Karen Jokotifa Alaye, and I am your host today, and I would assume that I am in that messy middle portion as someone in my 40s. But my work in death care also tells me that I never really know when the end is going to be, and you don't either. That can be kind of depressing, kind of a bummer. Sorry if that was a little shocking. But it can also be a tool of empowerment. It's definitely made me realize that life is too short to not do what I want to do and to not show up how I want to show up. And so that is what we are doing here today, here on Owning Life. And today we're going to talk about spirituality. I'm going to tell you about my journey to where I am right now. A couple things before I begin. Number one, if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. New episodes come out on Mondays. And number two, if you've been listening or if you listen back through previous weeks, you will see that I've done a couple different things. I've had interviews with people who I have been working with who are helping me be the best version of myself. And then I've also maybe done what I consider like reading essays that I have written. And today's going to be a day of like riffing. And I don't know if any one of those is the thing that I should be focusing on the most, or if a mixture of all three is good, if there's something else I should be doing. And so as people who are listening, whose opinion I value, who are doing me the service of listening, I would love for you to give your input. So in the comments, if you just want to share the things that are working for you, or maybe the things that you would like to see in future episodes. So thanks for that. But today I want to talk about just how I got to where I am today, which is actually really surprising. And in fact, I sort of look at my life and especially how it's changed over the last 3-4 years. And I'm honestly like flabbergasted about who I have become. And all of it has really been informed by my work in death care. Ultimately, this has been the thread that has helped me to coordinate myself, let's say, because by experiencing these really tender, difficult, life-changing moments, it does help me kind of dial in to the person that I want to become. And it was through my work in death care that I realized that my spiritual practice was lacking. But it took me a minute to get there. And so we're going to go through all that. But I want to say two more things. Number one, that my journey does not have to be your journey. And I do feel like overall, I'm not here to judge anyone's spiritual path. I'm one that believes that there are many doors to enlightenment, many doors to God, many ways to practice a faith or a spiritual devotion, and that one is not necessarily better than another. And also that everybody has their own individual practice that's going to be the one that works for them. So nowhere in here is like judgment or thinking or wanting you to be what I am, because that is certainly not what I'm going for. With that said, I am calling out to people in the diaspora who have been searching for something and have not found it yet. That's where I was really over the last 10 years, trying to figure out who I was supposed to be, trying to have a connection to my own culture, and I was kind of floundering and for a while just not even connecting to my own culture. And now that I am, I'm really grateful that that was a gift I feel like that I've given my lineage. And so if you are someone who is mixed race like me, who needs someone to be supportive as you are diving into our own culture, I certainly welcome you with open arms. And if you want to know anything about my journey, please let me know. I think those are the things I wanted to get out. So yeah, and now I'm just gonna tell you how I came to be who I am and how I'm pretty shocked about it, but how it really all was because of working funerals. So I grew up in a very Catholic household. My mom actually had been in the convent as a teenager and had left the convent to raise a family. And my father's family, who is my Black side of my family, they were all very Catholic as well. And so I grew up going to Catholic school. I grew up being acolyte. And so a fun fact that I like to share at parties is that I was working funerals when I was in 7th grade because I was like an altar server. And so they would call me out of school to have me work funeral masses. And so from a very early age, I've actually been doing death care. But I grew up in the church and grew up going to mass and all the things. And at some point, I stopped believing it. For a while, you just kind of believe what your parents say. And then at some point, I was just like, there's a lot in here that I don't resonate with. And so then I think I said I was an atheist probably, or atheist agnostic. Like I went back and forth for many years. A lot of that time, I would just say like, I don't know. And who are we to know anyway, right? The universe is so big. The possibilities are so vast. The afterlife is unknowable. Who are we to know? But, I'm a good person, so I trust that I will go where the good people go. And that was really my mantra for many, many years. It's like, I'm a good person. I'll go where the good people go. I'm not going to say what's real and what's not real. So this was like in my teens and 20s working in funeral homes. And I noticed that everybody wanted me or even assumed that I believed what they believed. So whether they were Christian or Catholic, something else, they would assume that I had this belief in God that matched theirs, and they would look to me to affirm all of their beliefs. And maybe that's where I got the whole idea that everybody has their own way, and I'm not one to, tell you to do something different. So I spent a lot of time just going, just agreeing, basically, kind of because it wasn't a place to have awkward conversations. Me as an employee of a funeral home, that is not the time for me to engage in a spiritual discussion with somebody or tell someone their views are right or wrong. And as a Catholic, typically these people were Christian in some way. And so I could kind of get out of the conversation by claiming truly that I was a Catholic. And so that kind of got me out of some otherwise fraught conversations. We didn't go into the fact that I didn't necessarily believe in a lot of Catholicism. But that's where I was personally for several years, which was dodging people's questions about who I was or what I believed, believing overall that as a good person, I was going to be fine. But then I was also getting to witness funeral rituals of other cultures. So being from the Bay Area, I got to see Muslim and Buddhist and Sikh, and just all sorts of different cultures and their funeral rites. And they were beautiful, particularly when it comes to like music and incense and ritual, but also in the way that particularly other cultures cared for the deceased person and spent more time with them than our own American culture might. And they would often like incorporate food and music and prayer, and they were lovely. Especially, I remember loving the Sikh funerals and memorizing their chants and singing them, and just it really lit something up within me, attending these funerals of different, more involved cultures. And the more I did that, the more I wanted something beautiful like that for myself. My 30s were probably what you call like the crystal hippie era, right? The love and light tarot card, that kind of spirituality, which I see a lot of people engaging in right now. That's my, like, the algorithm of the world that is being shown to me, which I do appreciate because it makes spirituality palatable. It sort of allows you to take the things that resonate and leave the rest. It allows you to tap in to a force that feels larger than you, and it has kind of a community around it, but it doesn't have, what I've found is it doesn't have strict like rules or procedures. And as maybe it's a Virgo thing, I don't know what it is, but I like structure. And so while I enjoyed the freedom of kind of a universal consciousness, reality, spiritualism, it still didn't have the structure that I was looking for. And ultimately, it was my wanting to look for culture that was my own and wanting to have the structure of a formalized spiritual practice that led me to where I am today, which is practicing an African traditional religion. Still, by the way, consider myself Catholic, particularly because it is so baked into my ancestral line, with my mom's family and my dad's family all being very Catholic for as far back as we can remember, and with my mom's family being like so Italian. A couple generations back is when they came from Italy. It's just, I don't think I'll ever separate myself from Catholicism because it's so important to my ancestry. And so I do practice and I do attend mass I do enjoy the ritual of Mass, and I enjoy being in a community. There's a lot to be said for a Catholic community. However, I'm not in alignment with all of their teachings. And so, whether or not they want to accept me or not, that's something else. But I do embrace the fact that I am a Catholic. My line is Catholic. I want to continue practicing, although I am doing it within my own sort of belief system. But it's really not looking at other cultures that made me look to African traditional religions to see if there was something in there for me. And ultimately, I found a spiritual practice that I have been really all in on for the last 4 years. The Sheshe Lagba. I attend the School of Orisa Studies. I have a Babalawo, and it's through that practice that I actually received this name, Jokotifa Alaye, and I have somehow found myself in this Zoom spiritual community practicing this ancient tradition with the best people who are all in it to make the world a better place. There's a couple reasons why I like the Sheshe practice and why it's worked well for me. Number one is it's not necessarily exclusionary, right? There's no sort of creed that I've found that says everybody should practice a Sheshe Lagba, like everybody needs to. That's not really the thing. It's a kind of live and let live. The other thing I like about it is that our goal is to bring about the good condition, meaning making the world like a place we want to inhabit, and that it's our job as individuals to make an impact on the world, and that we have to keep doing that until we nail it, which might take a few more lifetimes if we're being honest. Part of the work that I'm doing, part of showing up here, is to do my part to make the world a better place. It also encompasses a divinatory practice, which, if you're doing tarot and things of that nature, it resonates. Those are things that we're sort of used to as Westerners as ways of doing divination. But this spiritual practice has it baked in. And I myself sitting here trying to think of the words to express what this practice has brought to me. It's brought me a community. It's brought me the power of prayer. It has brought me self-confidence. It's given me direction. It's given me courage. It's helped me shape my day to be more productive. And it helps me feel like I am here to do something important. And it's allowing me to cultivate those natural gifts and talents, all alongside a community of beautiful people that I love, who have absolutely changed my life, who have helped me feel accepted as a Black person, which honestly has been a struggle for me all of my life. And it's just healed, or is actively healing, wounds that I didn't even know existed because they have been around for generations. And I'm just the one showing up in this time doing this particular work to repair or heal those wounds. And as a part of it, I get to chant and I get to sing and I get to participate in beautiful ceremonies and wear beautiful clothes and just be around beautiful people. And it's and I get up every morning with a sense of purpose. I get up every morning and I pray for my friends. I get up every morning and I reflect on yesterday and decide who I want to be today. And it's been such a surprise to both now consider myself to be a religious person, whereas for so long I denied being a religious person. And to be so involved in this church community. I've seen it right at the doing funerals, working with so many churches. You see the ladies guild or whatever it is, and to feel like that's me now. It's such a trip. But here we are, and quite frankly, it's allowed me to do this and show up here, whereas before I couldn't. And sometimes I say that too. Jokotifa is able to do things that Karen couldn't quite pull the trigger on. And it was because of the spiritual and community support, as well as the support of a daily spiritual practice and daily spiritual hygiene that's really opened me up to so many possibilities. So that's kind of my testimony. It's a reason why I'm showing up here, which is maybe why I wanted to share that with you. But also, like I said, I'm calling out to other particularly mixed race people. I would imagine a lot of us are trying to find our footing as who we are. How do we be all of it? How do we be everything that we are and show up authentically, but also honor where we came from? And that's like not just our parents, but down the line farther than we can even think about. And it hasn't been easy for me. I'm gonna say that. Like, it's been quite a source of grief in my life. I'm going to talk more about that on another day, but this is helping to embrace everything that I am. The Catholic part and the African part and the Italian part and the the part of me that needs spiritual discipline, that needs community, that needs prayer. And I'm grateful that I found myself here. So before I wrap this up, I'm going to do something that also requires a ton of bravery. I can't sing. Let's say that. I cannot sing. And I really want to be a singer. And I'm pretty sure in a past life I was a singer. But in this life, not so much. But a part of this practice, even Catholicism is reciting things over and over again. But so is Isheshe, and I've learned some Yoruba chants through the School of Orisa Studies. So before we close, I am going to be crazy brave and use my voice to do a Yoruba chant. That is one that invokes destiny. Yeah, we're going to leave it there. And it is from the Holy Odu, Oyeku Logbe. This was one of the first chants I learned and is one of my favorites. When I recite it, I feel it. I feel it working. I feel like it's a gift for me. And whether or not it's a gift for you or you turn this off, that's up to you. But this is the Holy Odu, Oyeku Logbe. Ishe tiori rameni monje. Ona tieda mila sile monto. Moto na titi. Motu de luo karo jako. Adi timene segbarati. Ma baorona. Aro seyen baloju. Arao seyen konikulaya. Orishan lao shede mogbo. Lo fia wo afin. Ti lo fimori. Difa fun show opwe. Ti sheo mobibe nu agba eregun. Owo koko ni won fi wogi. Owo orisha ni won fi won afin. Ewo wo pwe lara mi. Anybody oyeku areaje ogbe. Ewo wo pwe lara mi. Lo ba enkotu o mi o lo silenu. Inshe wo pwe lara mi o. Ewo wo pwe lara mi. Ewo pwe lara mi o. Ewo pwe lara mi. Eni toba ni o yekuo. Danda dani borisha ogbe. Ewo pwe lara mi. Ewo pwe lara mi o. Ewo pwe lara mi. Ewo pwe lara mi o. Ewo pwe lara mi. Eni toba ni o yekuo. Dan 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 ni ari jaogbe. Ewo pwe lara mi. Ewo pwe lara mi o. Ewo pwe lara mi. Ewo pwe lara mi o. Ewo pwe lara mi. Eni toba ni o yekuo. Dan 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 ni ari jaogbe. Ewo pwe lara mi. I give thanks to the Holy Odu Oyeku Logbe for its protection and it's allowing me to show up to fulfill my destiny. And I hope it empowers you to do the same. That has been this episode of Owning Life. Please subscribe if you have not done so. Please share with a friend if you think that they would enjoy it. And please join me next Monday as we talk about money.